It is such a pleasure to have you on the show. I've been watching your work for many years. I've seen most of your films,
Yeah,
but
cool.
your newest one is Dreams of Paper and Ink. If I'm
Yes,
not mistaken, it's your seventh film.
something like that. Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure it's the seventh or the eighth. It's getting up
Bloody
there.
hell. Bloody hell, man. Well, I can say that I've seen four of your films, I'm a fan of what you do. But I can say without reservation that this one is definitely your best film by a country mile.
Oh, that's good to hear. It's interesting to hear people because it hasn't fully been released, I guess, yet. So it's really good to get feedback from people that have actually seen it, and everyone seems to like it, which is surprising. I thought a lot of people wouldn't like it, to be honest. That's my initial. I thought for a long time the film was far too boring, and then
Yeah, right.
we showed a lot of people, and everyone sort of got a lot out of it. So
Yeah,
um,
it is an odd one, and I think I guess kind of intentionally. It's both conventional and unconventional at the same time.
yeah.
Can you just describe it to our listeners who haven't heard of it?
So it's a dialogue-free film. It's a feature-length movie, and it's about an elderly novelist, and he, I guess, gets propositioned to write, his next great novel, sort of thing. And he decides to write his most personal story yet, and he goes off and he kind of goes back in time to his first love or his first relationship, and he gets involved with these characters through his imagination, I guess, mostly. And yeah, he writes this story and sort of rediscovers a lot of stuff along the way that he sort of missed the first time that he lived through it. It's very, it's kind of artsy, I guess. It's a bit sort of dreamy. It's a bit poetic. There's a lot of music in the film, but yeah, no one says any dialogue. Like there might be like one word. I think that's about it, really. But the
Yeah.
story's not driven by dialogue at all. It's all based on looks and writing and songs and things like that. So it's definitely my most unique film and most personal film as well.
Without doubt, I mean, it's amazing how much story you're able to tell without that dialogue. Had the film occupied space in your mind for a long time? Is this something that's been with
Yeah,
you?
about a year or so. I wanted to make something small because Comic
Hmm.
Kids was quite a large film and that took a lot of energy and a lot of time. And I thought, I'm just going to go off and make a little film, kind of like what I did with Apocalyptic, like just a little sort of tiny movie that we can shoot in like a month, maybe spend about $5,000 or $6,000 on it, nothing too crazy. Um, and I was listening to a lot of music, like heaps of music for months and months and months. And I kept getting these ideas and I'm like, oh, I've got this idea. It's about this relationship that I had when I was a lot younger. It sort of, shaped my future, I guess, per se. And I learned a lot from it. And it affected me too, I guess, as relationships do with people. That's what humans are. That's what we do. Um, and yeah, I listened to a lot of music. And then I tried to write the script for many months and I couldn't get it. I had these feelings and these ideas, but they weren't working on paper at all. And then I was going for a walk. I remember exactly where I was. I was just up around the corner from here, my place, and I was walking and I sort of thought to myself, what if they just don't say any words? Like, what if there's just no dialogue in the whole film? And all of a sudden I was like, oh, that's the film that I need to make. Like that, it freed up a lot of things for me. I could just do it through visuals and music and looks and writing and text. And that as soon as I thought that, it just made me super excited to want to make the film because it just sort of worked a lot better in my head, like in that sense. So
Yeah, right.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
did having that lack of dialogue free up room to be experimental and improvise, or did it make things trickier ultimately?
It made things a lot easier. It
Yeah.
made sort of everything a lot easier, to be honest. The script was 30 pages. It was quite short for like, a feature length sort of film. The actors didn't have to memorize any lines, which was great. So it was, yeah, a lot of it was, yeah, a lot easier, which is a good thing, I think. Like surprising.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally. Tell me what the script looked like. So it was short. I'm gonna guess there was no dialogue, but was it like a scene by scene breakdown? How
Yeah.
much of
Yeah.
it
It
was
was,
telling the actors to improvise?
yeah, it was pretty, it's kind of like if you took any sort of script and just took all the dialogue bits out, what was left was sort of what the script was. It was just all the directions of what they were doing and what they were thinking. And because I based, I guess, the characters so much on my own life and own experiences, it was very, very easy to direct this film because I knew mostly exactly what the actors were going through at any given point. So if someone says, "Oh, how should I be standing?" I'm like, "Oh, we're actually standing like this because that's how it happened."
Mm.
And so that was a great thing to have access to, I guess. Um, yeah. So it was, yeah, it was a good. I'm really glad we did it the way we did it because I don't think it would have worked with dialogue. I think it would have been a whole
Yeah.
different film, and it would have been, yeah, completely different. And
I
in
love
about
hearing that, like how much of yourself is in the film, because it is such a beautiful film, and it's quite a sucker punch too. Like I really felt this film.
oh, good,
Were
good.
there any other sort of influences, maybe cinematically, that you drew upon?
There was actually none for this film. I know with all the other movies I've ever done, I've always, copied or been inspired by or drawn from. Like I think 41 was very much based on Field of Dreams. Apocalyptic was Blair Witch Project. Comic Kids was kind of like the Goonies. This film was just me. Like there was no sequences. There was no anything in this film that was like, it worked in this movie, I'm going to use it for my film. It was just completely, this is just exactly how I feel for this scene or this moment, or this the whole film really. So I only realized that recently because I have been very heavily inspired in the past to, everyone does it, everyone sort of, it's
Of course.
very heavily inspired to you copy elements. Sometimes it's like, I'm going to make a film like this because I like this movie and this movie, I'm going to mix these two movies together to make this film. And this was just purely just myself, so that was very cathartic and very enjoyable to make, which is good.
I'm glad you say that with like such sincerity too, because this next comment is going to be a compliment to you. Because I think if I were to describe it, I'd say that you've sort of taken the best elements of Terrence Malick's work and put it into your film. Because it really, like, I'm not a fan of Terrence Malick's storytelling, but I'm a huge fan of his way of capturing the world and moments. And I think your film looks like a low budget Terrence Malick film, and it's just beautiful.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I have seen some of his films. I think was it The New World. I remember liking quite a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's called The New World. I thought that was quite a great film. He's a very interesting director, apparently. I've heard a lot of stuff about him.
Well, there's a movie he did called Tree of Life, and I think the first act of that film, there's a lot of that in your film, and the fact that you haven't drawn upon that influence is like, that's such a huge compliment. Like,
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen Tree of Life. That's Brad Pitt, I think. Is that right? In that film?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, yep. I've seen The Thin Red Line. I think he did as well. And from memory, seen that once a long time ago. I'm gonna watch that again actually. But yeah, I haven't. Yeah, I did. It wasn't. Yeah, I didn't directly. Whether I was, subconsciously drawing from stuff that I didn't realize. But yeah, as far as I'm aware, there was no. Yeah, nothing being copied and pasted in this film, which was good. Yeah.
Here's a couple more reasons why I think I may be connected to the film as much as I did. I got married in Redwood Forest, so...
Oh, did you really?
I did. So immediately, like, your film opens up there, and I'm like, oh, gosh, this is great.
Here's an even weirder thing to that. The day we filmed that, there was a wedding happening. Like, that exact day we shot that scene. And there was actually a lot of people around when we shot that. There was like about 100 people walking through that forest that day. So it was amazing we shot what we did without seeing anyone. I think if you look very, very closely, you will. I noticed two people in the background that shouldn't be there, but you don't notice anyone. But that's amazing that you got married there. That's great. It's a great location. I love it there.
It is. And the other thing is that you shot on a beach that I practically grew up on. Like, because I'm a Phillip Island kid. Every other weekend.
Great. Okay.
Holiday house down there, and I just recognize so much of it, and just it was nostalgic for me to be watching this as well.
Yeah, we shot a fair bit of it at Phillip Island. That was always because what the film is based on actually happened at Phillip Island. A lot of it, like all this beachside house stuff. So, we shot a lot of it around sort of that area, and Phillip Island's. It's very you kind of can't predict what sort of stuff is down there. Like if you look around, it's huge down there at Phillip Island. And what's even crazier is I think is it French Island that's next door to Phillip Island.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's even bigger. That's almost twice as big as Phillip Island, which is nuts. So it's Australia's got some very interesting locations, which is great.
I mean, to my knowledge, there's been quite a few movies filmed on Phillip Island, but there's only ever been one filmed on French Island. So more people need to get over there. Yeah.
What's
the Aussie film? Storm Warning. It's an Everett DeRoche film directed by Jamie Blanks. It's great.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But all about it's a bit like Texas Chainsaw Massacre on Phillip Island.
Oh, great.
Sorry, French Island, I should say.
I remember Jamie Blanks. That's awesome. Okay, great. Excellent. Yeah, it's it was always going to be Phillip Island, and we just we looked and we got very lucky with weather. Got very lucky. For whatever reason, I just get very lucky with weather for some reason. So that last sequence, which is I think the most important sequence in the whole film, where we had this sunset, I think we've shot over 2 different nights or 2 different afternoons, and just got sort of the same sunset twice, which just never happens. And I think soon after we left that location, a whale beached itself there, like a few months later or something, and it was sitting there for like a year before it, dissolved into the ocean or something. So that was crazy. But yeah, Phillip Island definitely they were great. Everyone down there was very helpful, and yeah,
Yeah,
locations were amazing.
you've
So
captured it in a very stunning way for sure. How can people see the film? What's happening with it?
well, the movie will premiere at Lido Cinemas on May the 20th, I'm pretty sure is the date, which is a Friday, 7 p.m. Tickets are on sale now through the Lido
Hmm.
website. And then we've got a few other cinemas which will be announced very soon. So, but yeah, right now, the easiest way to get it is to get a ticket for this premiere and Q&A session afterwards with the actors.
Fantastic, and I would recommend everybody just find you on or find the film on social media and follow its progress that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, as I said, Glenn, such a stunning film. I'm excited for this one, and I hope it does good things. Do you plan on taking it to film markets or film festivals?
Yeah, well, it's been at 2 film markets already that it hasn't really done anything yet because I think from what I've heard, the last 2 film markets have all gone online because of COVID, and
Yeah,
no one's been out there and stuff. But I think it's off to the Berlin film market. I'm pretty sure that's a market that exists. That's what I got told recently, anyway. Um, and yeah, they're hoping that someone will pick it up there, so it'll find a home somewhere eventually for sure. Yeah, but in the meantime, it's just doing a small sort of theatrical release around locally.
awesome. Well, good luck with it, mate, and thank you so much for coming on the show. I'd love to get you back on. Maybe next time we can get you at the desk for a full episode and talk about whatever you've got next.
That'd be great. Yeah, thanks so much for having me.